This is VSiN's Football Training Camp Week, only on the Sports Betting Network.
Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
We are kicking this week off right on a Monday as we welcome you in to Follow the Money. No, your eyes and ears do not deceive you. This is not Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard. Stormy Bonantoni and JVT with you, holding it down for the next week while the guys get some well-deserved summer vacation time in. Then we will be back to our usual Money Move spot from 12 to 2 Eastern beginning next week. How are you, JVT? What's going on?
I'm good. A little confused. First off, happy belated birthday. I know it was a busy weekend for you. Second, I had about a 10-minute conversation with Mitch Moss just outside of the studio before I walked in today. So, odd place to spend your vacation, Mitchell, but very much fired up to be here for the next 5 days.
Getting vacation time, doing Circa signups, or what's he here for this morning?
I don't know. I have no idea. I didn't really ask.
You talked to him. You didn't ask what he was doing here?
Not really. I saw a wonderful picture of the Moss family himself, his wife Lorraine, and little Sebastian on Instagram the other day. Everybody's thriving, doing well. So happy to see Mitch. And yeah, I mean, I spent my time on vacation here too. So I was just up at Legacy Club. I did not dare come over here to talk to any of you people.
Yeah, you wanted to avoid me at all costs,
Correct.
Basically, is what you're saying. You also, even though you're back from vacation, we're enjoying some Summer League this weekend. How was all of that?
Yes, the indoctrination's going well. I took my kids to the Thomas and Mack Center. We were there for the Cooper Flag game, the bounce back. That guy's pretty good. I don't know if this has been known by anybody or maybe has been talked about in any way, shape, or form. I know the highlights are great. It doesn't really do it justice when you're watching it the entire time in person, how easy it looks, how smooth he moves, the off-ball stuff where he's not really the focal point, just everything that he does. This dude's a pro. And I keep saying this every time I see him, Stormy, but especially in person now, the physical maturity. You go back to the grainy Zapruder film when he was practicing with Team USA over at the Mendenhall Center for the Olympics as part of the select team or whatever it was, to right now when he's just lining up for a jump ball. Dude, like, this guy looks like he's been playing in the league already for 3 or 4 years. So I'm really excited. Lace him up already. Let's get to October because obviously his time is done, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yes, even though he's done, the Mavs are still in action in Summer League today. So we'll discuss that, one of 7 games that are on deck upcoming. We'll also have Julian Edlow of DraftKings join us in hour 2 of the program today for a half an hour in studio to talk through all of that. It's also NFL training camp week, by the way, here at VSiN. So we're going to dive into some wide receiver markets and get the lowdown on the Bills and AFC East with Bills beat reporter Matt Perino. Plus, later on at the end of the show, it's obviously All-Star Week getting underway from Atlanta. Cody Decker, former major leaguer, he's going to give us his thoughts on the Derby at Truist Park. All-Star game tomorrow. Have some fun there, which also, I mean, I guess I'm curious your thoughts as well. If you want to just jump right into the Home Run Derby and tell me your thoughts there. Cal Raleigh is the favorite, of course, leading the league in the first half in home runs. We're not going to see Aaron Judge or Shohei Ohtani, but still some good names and should be a fun night over there.
Yeah, okay, so a couple of things here. First off, missed mark, and I'm surprised you did not get this. Follow the money moves, which is probably the easiest thing.
That would have been smooth.
Shout out to senior editor Zach Cohen, who texted that in. Also said happy belated birthday to you as well.
Thank you.
But the Home Run Derby, first off, I want to direct everybody to VSiN.com. Adam Burke has a great write-up that was just up yesterday about some news and notes and some best bets for the Derby. I will be up front. I don't really like the Home Run Derby a ton, especially from a betting perspective. I don't know. I just feel like it's very repetitive. I get it. Home runs are fun, but I like home runs in the setting of like an actual baseball game. It is fun to watch unathletic people try to field fly balls in the outfield. That's a little bit more fun. But also, I feel like it's been hit or miss every once in a while for me when it comes to this Home Run Derby in handicapping it. Sometimes this is the old cliche, but you'll get somebody that for some reason is just lacing fastballs by their guy, even though they're supposed to be throwing batting practice. The pitchers are always very important, but this should be a fun field. Oddly enough, a very young field and a field of guys who should be in relatively good shape. I go back many years ago now. I think it was Miguel Sano who made a deep run to the Home Run Derby, but the round he got eliminated because he's a little chubby. He gassed out and just couldn't really keep it going. So that's always going to be something important. But look, some of the notes, we're out in Atlanta. It should be a warm day. Wind slightly blowing out. That should really help you. In terms of park factor, numbers like that, a park that's a little bit more beneficial to lefties when you're talking about home runs, 6% more home runs observed there for left-handed hitters as opposed to 1% less for home run hitters over the last 3 years. So that's just something to keep in mind. And we have a lot of strong lefties here. Cal Raleigh's a switch hitter. O'Neal Cruz, bats left-handed. James Wood, one of the guys I like, is a lefty. Matt Olson and Jazz Chisholm. So out of all these guys, I think the two dudes that stuck out to me was first and foremost James Wood. Like, I like the kid's swing. He's pretty lean. Again, I don't think he's going to gas out. Obviously, a lefty, which is going to help him here. I like the way that if you look at some of the numbers for him, launch angle, sweet spot rate, things like that, I think he pans out pretty nicely. But for the most part, I'm not going to come out here and say I've got some massive edge. I think I'm just going to play James Wood and maybe Byron Buxton and see what else we can do here in this Derby.
Yeah, per John Ewing, by the way, at BetMGM and the splits at DraftKings, James Wood is taking the most money of the field as your third shot on the board. It's plus 475, that price right now. O'Neal Cruz is the second shot behind Cal Raleigh, plus 320 his number. Raleigh is a favorite, plus 295. Matt Olson, the only repeat home run derby participant, although he was a late ad with Ronald Acuna bowing out, dealing with a little bit of just some tightness there. It's cool looking through the markets on here. I didn't realize how deep into the weeds a DraftKings or a FanDuel will get. You get home run totals for each player, round one total, round one head-to-heads, who will advance to the semis or final, exact result of the final, distance, exit velocity. There's a ton of these different markets if you are somebody who gets into the metrics and wants to dabble in some of these other fun items.
So with those, I thought this was interesting going through all of them because you mentioned the exit velocity. I know that was something that interested you. This is always important, the wording of these. DraftKings, their wording is just highest exit velocity. FanDuel specifies home run with the highest exit velocity. So I do wonder if that is something that we should keep our eye on here when you're talking about what that means when you're betting into this market. Because, again, the DraftKings prop, when I was reading this yesterday, did not mention home run. FanDuel specifically mentioned home run with the highest exit velocity. And then you look at the odds, and there was some difference in those. Like, for example, one of the big ones, DraftKings in that market had Byron Buxton at 6-1. FanDuel had him at 17-1.
Okay.
So that's a pretty big, that's obviously a very big difference there. Cal Raleigh, DraftKings had at 12-1. FanDuel had him at plus 950. How about this? Junior Caminero, DraftKings in the highest exit velocity market had him at plus 1,500, but he's 5-1 over at FanDuel. So it also helps to just shop around, again, if these are the same markets. But, again, the wording is what threw me off here because DraftKings, again, was just highest exit velocity while FanDuel specified home run.
We say that all the time. Yeah. Shop around, and it is important, but especially in stuff like this where opinions are going to be different and you're not taking huge limits on stuff. So you're seeing what book values something more than another. Yeah,
and I would also assume that my assumption here is, like, they're not going to count the exit velocity unless it's an actual, like, home run.
I would anticipate that being
but I just thought that stuck out. But you're right. Like, it's just all about that liability, how you're pricing things. I mean, this is especially something like, I would not say like exit velocity, but like a home run derby. I'm assuming it's not identical to Summer League, right? Where Summer League, you're evaluating these rosters that are just put together and you're kind of putting some odds, you're going to see some variance. Home Run Derby, I think, is somewhat similar. Like, you have profiles for these guys, how they hit and everything like that, but for the most part, you're going to see some oddities and some differences. You know, for example, to win this thing, Jazz Chisholm just overall 11-1 at DraftKings was 16-1 over at FanDuel. So you can find some big differences.
The rules, by the way, are going to be the same as last year for anybody who remembers. So that first round, 3 minutes or 40 pitches, whichever comes first. Bonus period as well as an option. You get 3 outs, but if you hit one that's over 425 feet, you get an extra out. The top 4 from the first round will then advance to the semis. Then you get 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3. Those are 2 minutes or 27 pitches for that section of it, and that'll be the same for the finals. So again, we'll talk more home run derby a little bit later on, but just to kind of set the table for that conversation with Cody Decker later. As for the weekend, just to backtrack a little bit, I know you and I are not the biggest tennis people in the world, but if you weren't watching Wimbledon this weekend, I don't know what you were doing, especially when you get Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner going head-to-head and Sinner getting the redemption in 4 sets in Wimbledon, especially after what transpired in the French Open final. So much fun, such good tennis, and to know that we're going to get those two just for years and years to come is pretty special.
Yeah, it was a fun match. I like tennis a lot. I texted Zach, who's our resident tennis guy, and said, you should keep an eye on this Alcaraz guy after the first set because he looked pretty good in the first set, and then Sinner comes back in those last few and looks pretty good against one of the guys that has been dominant in this tournament. Just watching guys at their highest level has been absolutely tremendous. But watching that and knowing, like, shout out to Zach one more time. I think he was on Sinner in this thing too. It called this for him. Very good call and analysis by him throughout Wimbledon, but it was shocking to me, given my very rudimentary tennis knowledge and what I know about Alcaraz, to watch him lose that way. I know Sinner's not any bum or anything like that, but the run that Alcaraz had been on was surprising to see him lose. Well,
and you think, too, Alcaraz, two-time defending champ, had won 6 straight in this head-to-head against Sinner, and then he has that type of a start for Sinner then to work his way out of it and then go on to win in 4 sets. It was very, very impressive. And I say this again, these guys are 22 and 23 years old. This is just the start of what's going to be unbelievable careers for the two of them. They have combined to win the last 7 Grand Slams now and 8 of the last 9. And after, Nadal and Federer, and I know obviously Novak Djokovic is still playing, but these guys that were such staples for such a long time, you wondered what that next generation and next transition of tennis players was going to be. And to know we didn't have to wait. Yeah. They're here. They have arrived. And looking ahead to next month with the U.S. Open, Sinner, the defending champ there, he's a plus 125 favorite. Alcaraz plus 175, and Djokovic 7-1. On the women's side Saturday, Iga Swiatek defeated the American we were rooting for, Amanda Anisimova. Doesn't get there. 6-love.
Oh, your
Complete
girl.
domination from Swiatek there.
Let's see. I wanted to find this. J-Rod tweeted a couple of us earlier. Said for this week's shows is worth mentioning, since Gill's off, Iga is a generational player since 1990. First players with multiple WTA level finals by a scoreline of 6-0, 6-0, and the first to achieve the feat in both a Tier 1 WTA 1000 and Grand Slam final. Acknowledge, says Opta Ace. How about that?
Acknowledge. Have to. Yeah, she was red hot, by the way, just from the start. Did not let up. She's 6-0 now in Grand Slam finals. Just an Aussie Open away from the career Grand Slam. Okay, we're just getting started. We still have so much more to get to. We will.
Surprised you were up on Sunday.
I actually came here. I did my Circa contest signups on Sunday.
Oh, okay, all right.
Had to do some shoots for the Circa documentary. I had to be like up and at 'em.
Okay. On the birthday?
Although, you want to know what's funny about this? Is an embarrassing thing, but I'm going to tell it anyways. My dad and I are filling out the sheet to sign up for Circa Survivor. We get to the part where you write the signature and the date, and I was like, what is the date? It's my freaking birthday.
That's right.
Come on.
Good Saturday.
We'll be right back.
What's the guarantee?
Eric? Mike, time to make history.
Players in Circa Million make 5 picks against the spread each week with quarterly and full season payouts.
Circa Survivor entries choose one team each week with no point spread. The last one standing wins it all.
We have $21 million on the line. Are you in? Visit circasports.com for details.
So, Paulie, have you had a chance to read the VSiN Daily yet?
Yeah. Came in at 3 a.m. What's Bill doing up that late?
Well, rumor has it starts off with a 12-hour meditation session.
Then he just pours himself over film and live TV, really focusing and taking it all in. Bill's in with the biggest insiders, talking trade secrets, strategies, the whole 9, absorbing the info.
And then and only then can the writing process begin.
In Las Vegas, Bill's late night becomes your early morning. Wake up to the very latest betting insights in your inbox with the VSiN Daily. Sign up for free at vsin.com/newsletter.
Responsible sports betting starts with a game plan. That means stick to a budget. Keep it social by playing with friends. Learn the game and know the odds. Play with trusted legal operators. And if you need help, reach out. If you're getting in on the action, visit haveagameplan.org to learn more.
This is VSiN's Football Training Camp Week, only on the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Rolling along on this Monday edition of Follow the Money. Stormy Bonantoni and JVT in for the guys today. We're live in downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino as always, where, it was busy here this week. Summer League is in town. You got all the stars out. Also, not to be outdone, but Backstreet Boys at the Sphere.
Oh, that's right. How was it?
It was the coolest concert I've ever been to in my entire life.
What they opened with? Wow, you're really having a brain fart.
Sorry,
what they opened with?
They opened with Larger Than Life, and they closed with Everybody.
Okay. See,
and
we talked about this on Friday.
Everybody was sick because they had the robots from the music video up on the thing doing the dance.
Yeah.
It was so cool. But I told you, I went to see Kenny Chesney at the Sphere in June.
Yes.
And I thought that was fantastic. I really loved it. The Backstreet Boys, the way that they did the entire just dynamic in the Sphere and all of the visuals and stuff, blew that out of the water. Like, Kenny Chesney sucked compared to what the visuals were at Backstreet Boys. It's night and day. I loved Kenny. It was great, but it was night and day. It was so cool. If you ever have the opportunity to come out here to Vegas to go to the Sphere, do it. And I'll say while you're at it, maybe stay at Circa, because we've got the all-in Circa Las Vegas getaway package that's still going on right now. $400 all in. You get to stay here at Circa for 2 nights, $100 dining credit, $100 beverage credit, your own day bed at Stadium Swim. And then what you do is you come here, you sign up for the contest, you hang out with all of us, and then you go to the Sphere for a concert. You can't miss it. CircaLasVegas.com. Check it out. But I'm not kidding you when I say, I think other concerts are ruined for me now.
Okay.
It was unmatched, unrivaled in any concert experience I've ever had. That said, Summer League probably could be a little bit better with the fact that Cooper Flagg is done already after 2 games, which we expected. And Ace Bailey's injured. Walter Clayton Jr. is injured.
Won't let you besmirch the name of
VJ Edgecombe
Summer League
playing. I'm just saying I expected more.
I watched a tremendous matchup after watching Cooper Flagg dismantle the San Antonio Spurs Summer League team between the 76ers and the Charlotte Hornets. I think, you know how there was, in tennis there's volleys? There was quite the volley of 3 minutes of uninterrupted play because they kept missing shots. It was so brilliant. It was such good summer basketball. But you're right.
That's the definition of summer basketball.
Yes. But you're right. It is. Look, it's the Summer League. We know what this is, but we'll see. We have Win Some, Lose Some coming up a little bit later. We'll get a sense of how these markets move on a day-to-day basis. We're actually seeing a lot of line movement here today, some of it based on information. And look, man, you got to be really hardcore to be sitting down watching these things and enjoying them like some people at the desk, and it's not you.
You've been really good, though. Dedicated. You're doing write-ups every day at VSiN.
I've watched a lot,
you and Zach Cohen are getting deep in the weeds. But
shout out Zach real quick. He does write up daily best bets, so go check those out. He writes an article every day on Summer League. God bless him. And I don't know what he did to Bill 80 to get that assignment.
This is one of those things, though, and not to besmirch the name of Keith Smith, but we had this conversation on Money Moves last week, talking about how you must have a problem if you're betting on the Summer League. But actually, there are legitimate edges that you can find in these games, and I think Zach has done a really good job of keeping tabs on all of that news as it comes out for you, because it's one of those things where you made such a great comparison in the NFL and how tight those lines are and how that is something that everybody is betting. It's different for Summer League because not that many people are betting, and because people don't want to pay attention and do the work to find out as much, there could be opportunity in it.
Yeah, I mean, and there's information. I think it's also based really on just paying attention to these teams and how the market will rate them. So, for example, coming up here in about 12 minutes, my Atlanta Hawks will take on the Houston Rockets. Atlanta now undefeated.
You have to tell people why they're your Atlanta Hawks.
Oh, if you wrote the article, one of the 3 futures, one of them's dead. Well, I shouldn't say dead. The Grizzlies seem to be dead. But Hawks are one of the 2 futures. Got them at 80-1, so we'll see if they can keep this up. They are 2-0, and I think currently in control of the 4 seed. I think there's 8 2-0 teams off the top of my head. Regardless, you keep track of this enough. You see a team like Atlanta who's got some players who have been playing particularly well, including Jacob Toppin. Kobe Buffkins had 1 good game, 1 bad game. But from a rating standpoint in this sort of a setting, you could tell that this was going to be a team that was going to be highly respected by the market. You also get a team in Houston that had Reed Shepherd on its team, who has been playing particularly well, but if you got ahead of the information, guess what? You found out that Reed Sheppard was getting shut down by the Houston Rockets for the remainder of Summer League. You could have laid 3.5 with a number that's currently 7 at some spots. So to the point of what we're talking about here, with this being a soft market, getting ahead of information, why Keith Smith, the writer that covers the Celtics and does a good job. Again, I'll be very clear. I think Keith actually does a good job, but I think he's wrong in his assessment that if you bet on the Summer League, you have a problem. This is a soft market that there's lower limits for a reason on, because it can be beat if you're paying attention. This is just one of those examples. So today, if you're wondering why are the Rockets now all of a sudden going from a 3.5-point underdog to a 7-point underdog, that is because Reed Sheppard has been shut down for the Summer League, and it's a good sign for the Atlanta Hawks. Let's go. Okay. Just need a dub. Keep this going. Point differential does matter, though, so I would like them to blow them out by infinity points.
That total has come down a little bit, too, down to 179.5. Last I was looking at it was 181.5, so there you go. We talked about Cooper Flagg and the performance he had over the weekend after the tough shooting night in Game 1, although he did fill the stat sheet in a lot of other ways. He had a very good game despite just the 5 of, 21?
Yeah.
Like, that was not good. But has 31 points the other night. Finishes things out. The flagless Mavs are in action tonight here in Vegas. That one sitting 7 right now against the Charlotte Hornets, who have been great so far here early, a team that some people really like and are among those shorter shots in the 12-1 range to win the Summer League title where things sit. What do you think about that number? Too high, too low, or kind of right on the nose for where you think things can play out?
Yeah, Mitchell Moss, one of the people that does have a future on the Charlotte Hornets. I don't know what number he's got, but if you look at it before the tournament began and where they were, you can see these up here. And the change in some of these, Hornets at DraftKings and at FanDuel, 25-1, 30-1, now in the range of 12 or 16-1, depending on where you shop. But this is the tough part about this. Again, you're only playing 4 games.
Sorry, did we get an update on Con Kneppel, by the way?
I don't know. I have not seen an update yet, so we'll double check on this. But I will say really quickly that for this team, when you're looking at them, if you look at the standings, they're actually 4 spots or 5 spots out of a playoff spot, because right now, again, only 4 teams make it. So you need to blow some of these teams out. With a guy like Cooper Flagg out, we're up to 7.5 right now in favor of Charlotte. I actually took a stab on Dallas here. I feel like 7's a lot. Again, evaluating these teams, I did get to see Charlotte up close playing Philly. It's not like they blew out the 76ers on Saturday. They do have, I think, some limitations when you're talking about the way they can create some of their offense here. They're very good up front, but I think it's just overall talent. Again, it's just kind of a stab in the dark how you evaluate some of these teams. And I thought the market was a little too strong on downgrading Dallas without Cooper Flagg. I think there's still some stuff there on this Dallas roster. And again, asking a Charlotte team that's kind of barely getting by I think, lesser opponent to win by 8 or more points, I think it's a little strong. So I went against the market a bit.
Any other games today that caught your eye?
Let's see. We got the one that's starting up in 30 minutes. We talked about that one. I want to go through some of the line moves really quickly. Indiana over the weekend got blown out by the Oklahoma City Thunder, or at least we got beat up by them. They opened as 5-point favorites. Chicago took a little bit of money there. They are down to 3-point favorites there with a total of 189. And then the other one later tonight, we have had a flip of favorites. The Los Angeles Clippers taking on the Los Angeles Lakers. Clippers opened up as a 1-point favorite, total of 181.5. Lakers now flipped. They are a 2-point favorite with a total of 181.5. And you'll see these line moves all the time. And as we will learn and win some, lose some, not always accurate.
Yes,
I will say. So that's something worth noting here. But the screen's lighting up as we're getting closer to tip time, especially for this Atlanta game. We're starting to see the market buy back on that 7. Not surprising. Some offshore shops are down to 6, and I would assume that we are going to follow here pretty shortly stateside.
Speaking of line movement as well, I know we pulled up that graphic a moment ago and we were talking about the Hornets odds, but the Jazz, who were pre-tournament favorites, they're out, and we've seen a ton of movement on that board. The Toronto Raptors, your favorite now at plus 450.
So I'm going to burn one of my, what's today? Call me crazies?
Yes.
I'm going to burn one of them right now. If we could throw this up, I will say I have not gotten any word that Ron Holland's going to get shut down for Detroit. Now, this is all fluid situation, so we'll see if that's going to be the case. I think it's crazy that FanDuel has 22-1 on this team currently to win the NBA Summer League. They are 2-0 right now, and in fact, they're in control of a 3 seed, so they would make it into the playoffs. They do have coming up the T-Wolves, who are a very good team. Again, door is still potentially open for the Timberwolves to shut their guys down. We'll see if that's actually going to be the case. And then they wrap up with Miami, who's 2-0 or 0-2, blew a 13-point lead to Atlanta, has Kel'el Ware getting, I would say, publicly called out by his head coach, Eric Spoelstra, with his professionalism. I think Spoelstra maybe was in a little bit of a bad mood because our guy, Brian Ortega, cut him off at a restaurant the other day. But still, on media availability, had to call out Ware for his lack of professionalism. So I think this path is pretty open for Detroit to potentially win this thing. Again, this is really contingent on whether or not Holland's going to play. But like DraftKings has him at 9-1 Stormy. FanDuel has him at 22-1.
Right.
I think the 22-1's a little off. I think if Holland's going to play, there's a pretty realistic chance that this team is at least in the playoffs, and you're sitting on 22-1. The team's currently 2-0 and in control of a seed.
And as we discussed earlier, that just goes to show to do your due diligence and check multiple sports books if you're trying to bet something, because 9-1 and 22-1 are not the same when it comes to a certain payout number. And like across the board, I mean, I know DraftKings and FanDuel are the more broad strokes examples that we have available to you right now, but even the Raptors, who are the favorite at DraftKings, that number is plus 450. At FanDuel, it's plus 250. Spurs plus 650. FanDuel 9-1. Across the board, you're seeing big difference of opinions. So make sure that you take that extra step and just check a couple places if you have interest on a team. You have teased a couple times now. Win some, lose some. That's what we're going to get into next a little bit.
My best Paul Howard impression.
Do your best, Paulie. And there is a certain video I am particularly excited about. So
I figured you'd like it.
Stay with us right here on Follow the Money. Don't miss it. Win some, lose some coming up next.
Gear up for football season the sharp way with a VSiN Pro subscription. Right now, grab our football special for just $175. An early bird deal that gives you full VSiN access through the Super Bowl. That includes our NFL betting guide, loaded with team previews, power ratings, and season-long best bets. Plus, pro picks sent to your inbox daily, betting splits from DraftKings and Circa, live shows on the VSiN Watch app, and so much more. Don't wait. Sign up now at VSiN.com/subscribe and join us on the Sports Betting Network. This is VSiN's Football Training Camp Week, only on the Sports Betting Network.
Win Some, Lose Some is sponsored by the Sharp Plays.
Were you a winner last night?
Wow, winning.
Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser!
Paulie Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
All right, it was a big weekend. Got a lot to get to. All right, we start in the NBA Summer League. Hawks plus 1.5 to -4. Win 98-80 against the Suns. Pistons plus 2 to -2.5. Win 98-83 against the Rockets. Big one for Ron Holland in that one. WNBA, Wings, Fever, total. Bet up 171.5 to 175. Game goes over by 10 as 185
Okay,
points.
first of all, you can't keep this up. I appreciate the
Paulie
attempt
Howard
at the
impression?
Paulie Howard voice. The attempt was good, but we got to rein it in. For that game, though, in particular, Kayla Clark, 14 points, 13 assists. With that, she became the fastest player in WNBA history to reach 200 points and 100 assists. And that's with her missing time, by the way.
I don't see why this has to end.
Boom.
Yeah.
Are you disappointed I didn't do a Mitch impression there?
Yeah,
as well?
I don't know exactly what a Mitch impression would look like.
Wear my glasses. That's what I needed.
I used to have a nails Paulie Howard impression back in the early Edge days that I would uncan every once in a while, but it's one of those things that I've forgotten. Much like, I don't know, riding a bike. I guess you don't forget that, though. Sunspox, 160.5, 164.5. Game goes over, 13.5, 180. Nailed it. Mystic Storm, 159 to 157. Game goes under by 14, 143. Brewers, -245 to -275. 30-cent line move, beat the Nationals 8-1. Royals, how about this? Flip of favorites, plus 115 to -110 on Sunday, beat the Mets 3-2. And the Mariners, plus 105 to -109, beat the Tigers 15-7. Not just baseball here, though. Big three, how about this? Underdogs, 4-0 ATS in the Big Three on Sunday.
We got the Win Some, Lose Some deep cuts from you
right.
this morning as you did your research.
That's all we do here on Follow the Money. Chris Goddard, 100-1, wins the Scottish Open.
Yeah,
I couldn't talk to anybody over the weekend who had a ticket on this guy.
Everything did point to a Rory win, though. So how much of this did you watch, by the way? And how disappointed were you that Rory was in the position, had every opportunity in the world, couldn't hit a putt? Like any of those 50-50 putts couldn't go down.
Am I supposed to be disappointed that Rory didn't win it?
Yeah, don't you think he's trying to get in shape for the Open Championship coming up this week?
I think Rory has come across as extremely unlikable over the last couple of
fan.
months, and I'm not really that big of a fan.
Okay. Well, the 25-year-old from Jersey beats him.
That's right. All right, in true Paul Howard fashion, win some, Uno, being added as a table game to the casinos in Las Vegas. How about this? Via the Las Vegas Review-Journal, Yahoo Sports. I can't wait for it.
How much of a win some is this, though? Because it's not open to the public. It's like a specialty thing.
Yeah.
So is that not actually a lose some for those of us normies out here in the world?
So you are right. We were led astray, bamboozled, hoodwinked here. It is a promotion, essentially. There will be like a lounge and whatnot. But it did get me thinking, I would absolutely love a table game. I sent you a great meme, which is when I lose my house, when someone flips the color to green. Absolutely brilliant. I had responded to Robbie Callan, who does a great job. You can follow him on Twitter at @RCallan, does some stuff for CBS Sports and others. I said, I can't wait for the math nerds to tell me what the plus EV play is with a skip in my hand, but the face-up card is a yellow 7 and the small blind has Uno. I wanted this so bad to be real, and obviously it's real, but not really real, which is very upsetting. It gets intense. This in Phase 10. Have you played Phase 10?
No, I've never played Phase 10. I don't think.
I over the vacation was playing with my wife and my in-laws. I came very close to just breaking something. It gets intense, man. And so, can you imagine hammered 10K on a hand, and someone hits you with the skip +4? Come on.
Or if you could go head-to-head with the dealer and you have done such a good job collecting your cards for the end of this thing that it's skip to me, reverse to me, reverse wild +4. Come on!
All right. Win
Electric.
some. Send you videos at Paulie Does Vegas up on Instagram. Everybody loves the beach, and so does this little guy. Check it out. Look at him. Standing outside of the sunroof. Look at the hat.
They see me rolling, they hating. I think that's what he was given.
Look at him.
That's the energy that we're getting out of the sunroof right there.
Yeah, just waiting
really
to see.
Cute.
Maybe get some snacks.
It's a little chunker.
Yeah, a little chunky guy, huh? Lose some. We move on. NBA Summer League, back to it. Heat bet up from -2.5 to -5. Lose outright 92-72 to the Cavaliers over the weekend. Baseball over the weekend. Sunday, Orioles bet up 20 cents. 125 to 145, lose to the Marlins 11-1, never close. Twins -135 to -157, lose 2-1 to the Pirates. What are you doing? CFL Red Blacks, Tiger Cats, bet up 53.5, 56.5. Not even close, Stormy. Game goes under by 13.
Did that get sent in, or did you watch that game every second of it? Because
I was keeping track.
You bet it? You watched line move?
We do have a CFL handicapper actually on staff. Kelly Bidlin has been betting and handicapping the Canadian Football League. Don't think it was here, though. Rough Riders, -5.5 to -6, lose outright 24-10 to the Stampeders. What a loss. Summer League, Saturday, Bucks, +1 to -2, lose 93-83 to the Cavaliers. Pacers, +3.5 to +1. Was watching this yesterday when I was with my kid. 104-85 to the Thunder. They lose. Not even close. Pelicans, -1, bet up to -5. Stormy, they lose. 94-81, and then the Blazers +5.5 to 2, lose 96-86. Market dead wrong there. Also wrong on the total there. 182.5 to 186.5. Game goes under the opening number, 182. Lynx -9.5 to -11.5. I watched this whole thing, lose 87-81 to the Sky. Fake comeback later, and then the Phillies -145, -165, lose 5-4 to the Padres. One thing, lose some humanity. Got to check this out. This is allegedly a Chinese robot being trained to run like a human. Again, nope. I don't believe everything that I see on the internet. I tried really hard to find the origins of this video. This is allegedly real, though. I don't know why they dressed him up like Adam Sandler, as is the running joke. But this is allegedly a cyborg/robot that has been trained by the Chinese to run like a person.
So this is a no. I am so anti-robot, anti-AI. Have we not seen enough movies to know what happens when we put too much stock in technology? Like, this is This is a step in the wrong direction. Absolutely not.
So I'm down with technology. My only question would be, like, everything has to have a use, correct? What would be the use of a robot that is capable of running through rough terrain? I suppose to rescue people. But to your point, I just imagine when it's been flipped by AI to kill all of us that it can catch every single one of us.
That's what I'm saying. It can happen at any moment.
Right.
And I know I've told you this before, but for our Follow the Money audience today that doesn't know me particularly well, I have just seen too many things. I watched that show Upload on Amazon Prime where the very first episode, the self-driving car is manipulated to then murder somebody. Like, I don't like self-driving vehicles. I'm not down with the drones. The robots are taking over. AI knows too much. People are getting married to their AIs.
I don't believe those stories.
I sent you that one. It's on CBS. It's a real news story on CBS about this guy proposing to his AI and saying that that if his wife were to ask him to stop, he doesn't think he could.
He's married to a real person?
To a real person.
That's interesting.
Yes.
Got to be hard up for that one. All right.
No robots.
Again, we love the dog videos at Paulie Does Vegas. Send them in. How about this? Look at him climbing up the ladder. Look at the quads. He's great. Aww. Once you figure it out, he's done. You can go jump in whenever he wants. Look at him. Good dog. Shake it off. Shake it off. Get up. Right back in. Right back in.
You see so many dogs that don't really care for the water. They get freaked out by it. I love an animal that's just like, let's go.
What a
little thrill-seeking pup. I'm for it.
What a good boy. All right.
For it.
Bad beats. Big one in Major League Baseball in the draft. This was a shocker. Cade Anderson, -500 to go number 1 overall, as we expected, drafted number 3 overall by the Seattle Mariners. Who was number 2, by the way, really quickly? The second overall pick. Who was the team in control of that? The Angels. Yep, the Angels.
Are you happy with what they did?
Who decided to skip over? Look,
they skip over him?
Yeah.
And
here's the problem.
Holiday, right? Did he go 4?
Here's the problem with what the Angels did. Generally, what they like to do, they drafted Tyler Bremner, second overall. I think what they keep trying to do is they keep trying to get these guys who are close to Major League ready and not young guys who they can develop because their farm system has been absolute crap for a while. So it was a little bit of a reach. A lot of the, we'll say, respected publications had this kid in the range of 13 to 18 on their big boards, and they took him second overall. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to pretend to know the intricacies of this draft at all or where these prospects ranked. I will say I get the general sense that it was a very flat draft and that all of these guys were very close to one another. But still, kind of surprising when a guy that's generally ranked in that early teens, late teens goes second overall. But we'll see what Bremner can be. But very big surprise that the kid, Anderson, -500 to go number 1 overall. And, of course, gets drafted 3rd.
Yeah, number 1, Eli Willits ends up being the pick, 3rd youngest top overall pick ever taken in the MLB draft, behind just Tim Foley, who was first overall in 1968, and Ken Griffey Jr. I don't know if you ever heard of him. 17 years old, 193 days in 1987. All
right, check out thesharpplays.com. Obviously, Win Some, Lose Some, brought to you by them. Unmatched transparency, records updated daily, AI betting analysis, and real-time global betting information. And you get alerts directly from the pros. Go to sharpplays.com. By the way,
Nailed
I am
it.
told on Instagram, Paulie Does Vegas, Anthony Johnson and Jay Buckley both check in and say, great Paulie impression.
It was pretty solid. I'll give that to you.
I even remember the Instagram handle,
So
right?
is that because you know Paulie so well, or have
Nobody
you
knows
always been
Paulie
good at
so well.
accents?
Nobody knows Paulie.
But you've been around him so much. Is that a
Yeah.
better way to put it?
Yeah, that's a good point. Nobody. I'll make a reference that nobody's going to get, but for Paul Howard, the inner workings of his mind are an enigma.
An enigma inside a. What's that quote?
I don't know, but that was
what is it?
That was a reference to SpongeBob that I just made that nobody understood.
I wouldn't have gotten that. But no, what's
Remember that? The inner workings of my mind are
What's
an
in the
enigma.
JFK movie though when he misquotes the Roosevelt quote? Oh, what is it?
I don't
You know what
I
I'm talking about.
I don't. I know. I remember our former president George Bush with the "Fool me once,
Like
shame on you.
Fool me twice.
Can't get fooled again."
Can't get fooled again.
Now watch this
yes,
drive.
A riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma. That is JVT's version of Paulie Howard. On that note, we're going to take a quick time out. After the break, we dive into the AFC East with Bills beat reporter Matt Perino of Syracuse.com. Are the Bills built for a Super Bowl in 2025? He'll tell us why or why not, and a whole lot more next.
As sports fans, we may cheer for different teams, but there's one thing that we can all agree on. We want the game to be big. And with 3 levels, 30 cabanas, a 143-foot screen, 6 clean pools, and endless cold drinks, it doesn't get any bigger or any better than Stadium Swim in Las Vegas. All sports, all seasons. It's more than a pool deck. Stadium Swim. It's the only thing like it in the world.
You're in it now. VSiN's football training camp week is underway all week long. Our experts are breaking down season-long props, futures, fantasy draft strategy, playoff picks, and award predictions. Everything you need to be ready for when the season kicks off. And every morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, catch VSiN Training Camp Today, your daily deep dive into sleepers, sharp bets, and expert analysis. This is your camp, your prep, your edge. Only on VSiN, the sports betting network. This is VSiN's Football Training Camp Week, only on the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
VSiN's football NFL training camp week underway. And if you're serious about winning this football season, your edge starts now with the VSiN NFL betting guide. We are loaded up with in-depth previews of all 32 teams. We've got season win total breakdowns, best bets from all of our VSiN experts, player props, betting projections, everything you need to be a more informed NFL bettor all season long. And right now, you can lock in VSiN's football special for just $175. That gets you full pro access through the Super Bowl, including every betting guide, daily best bets, 24/7 video, exclusive analytics, and all of the tools available each and every day at VSiN.com. But don't wait. That early bird pricing ends on July 1st. Sign up now. Get access to our NFL betting guide. VSiN.com/subscribe. Again, that's VSIN.com/subscribe as we welcome you back to Follow the Money. Stormy Bonantoni and Jonathan Von Tobel with you. Do want to give you some well-deserved credit where credit is due. People on social media are loving your Polly impression.
Very good.
Great. Although one person didn't like it so much.
Really?
Yeah, your wife.
Oh, yeah. My wife texted me and said, "Oh, why the bleep are you talking like that?" She didn't understand what was happening there, then understood, and then told me that Phase 10 was not that hard, that I exaggerate. That is not true. Phase 10 is extremely hard. It's infuriating, to be quite honest with you.
Okay, well, we'll see if our guest agrees. Very excited to get into a little AFC East talk and specifically deep dive into the Buffalo Bills with Matt Perino, who joins us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Bills beat reporter for Syracuse.com, host of the Shout podcast at Matt Perino with 2 R's on X. You a big Phase 10 guy? I have never played that game before. I prefer Uno. That's what started the conversation.
You're talking to a retired Phase 10. I don't want to call myself a legend, but I got after it back in the day. Here's the thing, though. I totally agree with you. It's the most infuriating game of all time, and that's why I don't play it anymore at family get-togethers.
Yep.
But my kids have started to play Uno, so I'd imagine Phase 10 is probably not too far down the line.
Yeah, with the in-laws a couple of weeks ago, Matt, I was playing. I was stuck on Phase 1 while everybody got to about Phase 6 or 7. I quit. I straight up quit. I was like, I'm done with this. I left to go drink somewhere else because I was very angry.
You got to find a game on in the other room and just remove yourself.
See?
Well, let's get into this Buffalo Bills squad who has dominated the AFC East in recent history. It's like since Tom Brady got out of the division, Josh Allen and the Bills have handled business there. Big favorites to do so once again. They make these runs in the playoffs, but that Super Bowl has been so elusive. Josh Allen, I imagine the confidence is sky high coming off an MVP season. Can they finally get there this year, in your opinion?
Yes, and that's not the first time I've said that over the last couple of years. But the big difference to me this year is the approach they've taken on the defensive line to kind of reshape and reimagine how they have to get to the quarterback, not only like in the regular season, but in January, because that's where they've fallen short. They drafted 3 new players. TJ Sanders comes in here on the defensive line, Landon Jackson, young developmental players. And then they go out in free agency and they add Joey Bosa, Michael Hoyt, defensive tackle from Pittsburgh, and Larry Ogunjobi. They have thrown a lot of darts at the board up front to try to affect the opposing team's quarterback more. They also gave extensions to Greg Rousseau, Christian Benford, their borderline all-pro cornerback. This is a defense that could take a step forward this season. And when you have the MVP, the reigning MVP on the other side of the ball, I think they have a lot of good things going. It's just about being able to close the deal against Kansas City, and a lot of teams leave the season frustrated in that endeavor.
Matt, I've been making the case over the last couple of weeks now, and for our NFL guide, I wrote up the AFC East, so I was doing a lot of studying on Buffalo. I feel like in the betting community, a lot of people generally would go, minus 275 to do something like that seems too much. I can't play that. I think the price should be higher for Buffalo to win this division. Like, what has to happen for them to lose the AFC East? I feel like there's not that many universes in which that happens. That seems like a cheap price looking at the way the AFC East looks like.
I think if Miami can stay healthy at quarterback, I think that they're going to be somebody that competes with the Bills for sure. I think the Jets, if they find any kind of answer with Justin Fields, that defense with Aaron Glenn there is going to take a step forward. And the Patriots are this plucky young team that they played them really tough last season. And I wonder if, adding Mike Vrabel, if Drake May doesn't take any step back and maybe even takes a small step forward in year 2, they have some interesting pieces on both sides of the ball that I think can make things interesting. I think the universe you're talking about, though, is probably a Josh Allen injury. If he doesn't get injured, he dominates this division against Miami. Against the Jets, he struggled a little bit at times, but in recent years, it's been a little bit more, turnover free, which has always been the name of the game with him. And then the Patriots are a team that since Brady left, he's had his way with them as well. So I think the Bills have gotten better. And I wonder if the two teams that have been the main predictive teams to compete in this division, the Dolphins and the Jets, I just haven't seen them get better enough to compete in the division.
Well, and with that in mind, then, do you think either one of those teams, specifically the Patriots and Dolphins, who you were more glowing to, do you think they could put themselves in the position to be a playoff team? Even you look at their win totals, it makes you feel like, no, the Patriots being the higher of those two at 8.5. But do you think either one of them could exceed expectations enough at least to be a playoff team in the AFC?
Yes, only because I think that if you look at some of the big-time contenders, like the Ravens and the Bengals and the Chiefs, I expect their divisions to be tougher this year. And listen, the Ravens division is always tough, right? That is kind of like getting through that gauntlet during the regular season. I think it's why they do so well in the postseason a lot of years. The Bengals have made a run to the Super Bowl a couple years ago. The Ravens, obviously last year, lost to the Bills, but I thought played the Bills in the playoffs just about as well as anybody not named the Chiefs. So I think if these teams are beating up on each other in the other divisions, the Chargers, in year 2 of Jim Harbaugh, maybe they take a big jump forward. Now if you're the Miami Dolphins or New York Jets or Patriots and you can win 10, 11 games, I think you get yourself into the conversation, and you only have to play the Bills twice. So if you dominate the rest of the division, one of these teams kind of elevates to that place. For sure, I think they could be a playoff team. I think a couple years ago, the Dolphins were a playoff team when the Bills won the division.
So the wide receiver room was a big topic of conversation last year for Buffalo, and you have a bunch of guys coming back. Obviously, Khalil Shakir, a leading receiver from last year, Keon Coleman. What does this receiver room look like now going into this season? And could there be a actual reality where some of these guys take a step back? Because on paper still, man, it looks like a group that's a bunch of B-level receivers. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it doesn't seem like there's a dominant force there. But maybe there's somebody that could emerge, in your opinion.
So I think what they're betting on is if you go back and watch last season, the best pocket of games for Keon Coleman was midway through the season, right before he got injured. The Seattle Seahawks game was the one where he really elevated his level. One-on-one against Reek Woolen, one of the top young corners in the league. And I thought Keon Coleman had his way with him. He out-physicaled him. He had made a big play in the end zone for a touchdown. And it looked like the midseason trade for Amari Cooper was exactly the type of move that was going to unlock this player that they invested the number 33 pick in the draft last season. Problem is, Cooper got banged up. He also, after getting injured, wasn't able to kind of be the level of player that he's been the last couple of years in Cleveland and before that in Dallas and in Oakland. And I think that they needed to replicate that skill set, find it in somebody else, and that's what they feel like they've done in Josh Palmer. When you hand out a deal for 3 years averaging $12 million to a wide receiver, it's not big, eye-popping numbers, but it's a significant investment. And the reason they made that investment is not only for what they think Palmer can do in this offense. He's a great route runner. He gets separation. Some of that data is at the top of a lot of the charts that you look at that kind of get splattered across social media. His effect on Keon Coleman is what I think they're truly paying for in year 2 of that kid's rookie contract. They think Coleman could be really good, but he doesn't get a lot of separation. So he needs somebody on the opposite side to do that dirty work. Khalil Shakir, one of the most underappreciated wide receivers in the NFL. He was second in the league last year in run after the catch behind only Jamar Chase. He is a safety blanket for Josh Allen. So important to what they do on offense.
You and your colleague at Syracuse.com, Ryan Talbot, did a bold training camp predictions article that's up on the website right now. And one of those was also about Dalton Kincaid being a potential breakout candidate. So not a wide receiver, but a pass catcher nonetheless. What do you think he could do here this season for Josh Allen?
When Joe Brady took over for Ken Dorsey when he was fired midway through the season 2 years ago, he had to kind of like figure things out on the fly. And then when the offseason came and he kind of shaped the offense in his image, he was doing it during a complete identity shift away from Stephon Diggs and into this everybody eats collection of B-level receivers that they've come to be. And in that process, I think Dalton Kincaid just kind of gotten added into that room in a way where I think that they have to elevate him, and he's got to be a guy, if maybe a B+ in this offense that does become a center of attention in a lot of games. There's only 2 games last year where he had 10 or more targets. I think this season you're going to see that number at least triple. And I think that when Josh Allen came out after the season, he had that big moment in the Kansas City Chiefs game where he, heaved that ball up and Dalton Kincaid couldn't come down with the catch. He stuck up for him and said, I have to be better for Kincaid in year 3. And I think he's going to make it a point to do that. And so I'm telling anybody that listens, buy all the Dalton Kincaid stock that you can, because when you have the MVP saying that he's going to go out of his way to make somebody better and a more prominent person in this offense, that's what I'm listening to.
Matt, you're awesome. Thank you so much for doing this. We appreciate it. Enjoy training camp.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
Matt Perino, everybody. Check out Shout Podcast wherever you get your podcasts, at Matt Perino on X, and of course, Syracuse.com. Dalton Kincaid last year, 448 yards. His season-long prop for this season, 550.5. So if you are believing the hype, going to take a gander.
NFL phase 10er.
Phase 10. I need to learn more about this. Although maybe based on your guys' reviews, I shouldn't. We're going to take a break. Coming up on Follow the Money. It's talking season in college football. The latest from day one of SEC Media Days, and our preseason top 25 begins.
Introducing the $500 trifecta. Use your GBank Visa signature credit card.